So one of the hardest things to have to do in college football is have to say goodbye to a senior class, and especially senior class the way that our guys are. So I apologize for being a little bit longer, but saying goodbye is never easy, and just the investment that group has made, the foundation that they've laid for all of our future unbelievable success is really meaningful. Being in that locker room and seeing how much they care, how much they poured into this year, and it's that the way our guys just kept battling and fighting, regardless of it's a depleted roster, who's out there playing for us. They just keep battling, and the reason they do that is because of all of the bonds that we forge throughout the offseason, all the bonds that we forge throughout the things that we do and the nature of our program and our culture. So it's hard. And not knowing that when we come back in January and have our first team meeting, and knowing that Tyler Cooksy's not walking through those doors, or Nathan Cottrell's not walking through those doors, Tyler Davis, Jared Southers, Tagey, Christian Campbell, Scott Morgan, Mari Jarrett, they're a special group. So the culture that they've set, so if we come back in January, we're not having to go from 180 to a million miles an hour so abruptly. The foundation is laid. We're able to get in here, get into work, because they know the expectations moving forward in this program. They know the things that we have to do to be the elite program that we're on our way to being. So, you know, sad that they're gone, but excited about what they've done to lay the groundwork for the future of this program. Obviously, got to give hats off to the team that we just played. I still remember 3 years ago, I was the defense coordinator at Florida, first year in the development of that program, and just to see, you know, the impact that they've made through recruiting, through development, you know, that's the way it should be. And so we're actively engaged in that part of the process right now. But the part that was promising is you go into halftime being ready to go one score down against the number 3 team in the country with an absolutely depleted roster of guys that are just fighting and battling and giving us a chance to be in that game. It bodes well for what's going to happen with this program going forward. Questions?
Please raise your hand and get a microphone. Kelly.
Coach, the first half was incredibly competitive,
Yep.
and you rolled the dice a lot, particularly onside kick, and then got some takeaways. But kind of what happened in the third quarter to kind of
Sure.
get the game out of hand?
So the level of attrition does catch up to you, but there were some things. The first sky kick to open up the second half, we did it because the sun was right down exactly where we were going to kick it. The kick was 15 yards shorter than it was supposed to be, and the guy was able to get it out to the 50 and then get field position, and then the entire third quarter was completely a game of field position. I thought Presley, Nathan Cottrell, did a great job. Jalen Askew, before he got hurt, we're changing the field, but once field position gets tipped in the other way, that significantly, it was hard to overcome. Our guys kept battling, but it got away from us there in the third quarter, and you can't let that happen against the number 3 team in the country. And it did, but the whole thing this year has been completely learning experiences, and one of the big parts of our off-season program is we do tug of war all the time, and one of the cardinal sins in our program is letting go of the rope, and I thought at times in the third quarter we let it slip and couldn't find a way to get it back, and we'll make sure that we continue to build on that when we get back in the off-season.
You forced 3 fumbles, which helped you stay in the game, but like you said, I guess you know, when you're playing against one of the top 3 defenses in the country, it's sort of hard for the offense to take advantage of those turnovers.
Yeah, I mean, they're really good. I thought we had some good momentum going into halftime, 17-7. Thought we had a chance to get a little chip shot to make it a 1-score game. Obviously, that didn't happen, and we still got to rally and find ways to continue to get stops and move the ball. So.
Okay.
Regarding the chip shot, I know stress being aggressive. Did you give any consideration to going for it on the 4th and 2 trying to pick that first down?
No, I mean, it was a 1-score game. We had this thing rolling. I thought we would definitely come away with points in that situation. And, I think the morale and everything to make it a 1-score game, I thought would be good. And obviously we didn't get it. And, things we've got to continue to work on every phase of the program.
Coach, with the short field or getting at midfield with those turnovers, was there ever a thought about just taking a shot downfield, and why didn't we do that?
Yeah, sure.
And then also, of course, 3rd and long is somewhere we don't want to be, but we have a lot of tendency of running the ball on 2nd and long. Can you kind of give us a little idea why that's going on?
Yeah, I mean, they're first of all, hats off to them. That's as good of a front 7 as there is in college football, and really good pass rush, and we thought it was best in that situation for us to run the ball. We had some things wired that were popping. I think we probably arguably, I don't know the stats, but I got to imagine the most number of runs that have been explosive on them all year were in that game right there. So played our strengths, and that's what we were trying to do.
Coach, what's some of the things you can take away from this season going into the next season and to the off season?
Yeah, I mean, it's everything. I mean, time to reflect will be tomorrow, but this has been one of the most historic undertakings of the transformation of a college football program that has happened in 40 years. The people that get it and the people that understand what we're going through, what we inherited, the situation, completely get it, see the progress that we've made every single week, all season. The ones that don't want to get it, they're not going to get it no matter how many times there's things written and things said about what we've gone through. But I know the future is bright, and all the things that we've learned together cumulatively in the first year are going to set us up for unbelievable success. The freshmen and sophomores that are dominating the amount of rushing yards, the amount of passing yards, the amount of receiving yards, the returning players that are back that had all the tackles and tackles for loss and sacks and turnovers, they're returning. We have an unbelievable senior class. It was the 2nd smallest class in the country. The 2 that started every game for us are ones we brought in here in January. So it is a process. We completely get it. We have stayed positive the entire year. We are going to get better every single week, and you see it. You see it every single week. Other than one play at the end of the first half against the Coastal Champions on the road, we've got a chance to be a really good team, learning from all those experiences. The piece, too, that we're fortunate that we're in the state of Georgia that has unbelievable high school talent, unbelievable coaching, is getting us back in the conversation to make sure this is a destination spot for elite recruits. The number 1 state in America that only has 2 Power 5 programs is the state of Georgia with talent. And it's our job to make sure that we're getting those guys to join this program, join this culture, because it is very special. They've averaged, I think, 11.4. Patrick Suttis did it. 11.4 of the top 50 players in the state of Georgia over the last 4 years choosing to go there. We inherited a roster that had 2 on the roster that were top 50 players in the state of Georgia. And we are actively going after to make sure our roster, through recruiting and through development, is at the highest level possible. Since January, we've brought in 7 of the top 50 players historically in the state of Georgia, and we'll continue to do that because recruiting matters, development matters, and we've got to find a way. And you see it along the lines, and you see it on special teams, the way that we have to develop to get bigger and stronger to be able to do the things that we do, and we've just continually gotten better, and we'll continue to develop and recruit at a very high level. And the cool thing, I've said this before, we're not just recruiting talent. We are building a program with the right players that choose to come to this great institution, and then the culture that we've established by these great seniors then takes over and adds the spark for us to have a lot of success. So obviously very upset about the loss. I'm extremely devastated, having to say goodbye to those seniors, but I'm extremely optimistic of the team that come January 5th, when we have our first team meeting, that is going to be in that room with the right attitude, the right mindset, and has had all of these cumulative experiences together on how to play big time ball and how to push us over the edge. People say we're close or whatever. Push us over the edge, find ways to have an edge so that we can be a really good football team.
Okay.
Coach, obviously a tough game for Jay Clinton. What could he take from this, and what did you maybe say to him after the game, and how has he come along?
Yeah, and it's the it's the development of a player. I mean, he's a redshirt freshman playing at a position that everybody watches. Right? If you play corner, like Amari Walton's out there as a redshirt freshman, Spider Sims is out there as a redshirt freshman. When those positions are out on islands, you see them, right? And James Graham is playing quarterback in the ACC against the number 3 team in the country. And there's going to be really good days. There's going to be days that he's going to want to get better at. And it's a process of development, and he'll continue to get better. Some of the early parts found ways to get him being him and playing. I thought he played a little tight early, but just cut it loose and go play. They're really good. That's fine. But just distribute the ball, make the calls, make the checks, and get this thing moving. But again, can't discount. That's a really good roster we just played. Ken?
As you say, as a very good team, I'm curious, just knowing your roster and how good they were, how much of a chance did you feel like you guys had against them? What did you feel like needed to have happen for you guys to be in there?
The thing, we went very aggressive. There's a bunch of walk-ons that had to play. We don't care about that. We just get out there. Henson Fowler, I don't know if that's a household name around here, right? He's a walk-on that was out there at the D tackle position against an offensive line that's really good 4 years into their development and recruiting, and Henson's out there battling. I warned the referees pregame that when Henson Fowler makes a tackle, get ready to throw a flag, because I'm going to be out on the hash mark celebrating with him, because in his mind, he would never have thought that he would be playing meaningful snaps in a game of clean old-fashioned hate against the number 3 team in the country. But there he was. He was out there playing meaningful snaps, and we don't worry about it. We just put the ball down and go, and there he was, proud of him. And none of the guys panicked. They just, all right, here's who's out here playing, and we're going to go out there, battle and compete, and they did that. And we'll continue to do that moving forward, and make sure we find ways to keep our guys healthy through development, rehab, regen, and all the things that are part of our process.
One or two more for Coach Collins.
We've talked about injuries, and obviously in season you don't like talking about that.
Sure.
I'm curious what the count was today in terms of scholarship guys that were down, and how many guys that played that are probably going to have procedures or those types of things even in the off season now. Do you have like a rough number? I mean,
they're probably today. I bet in our ATL group of about 24 to 28 guys that we would list throughout the season, probably 16 of them, I'll bet would be fair to say, did not play. So that's 16 guys that we've had either start for us or play significant snaps throughout the season that did not play. It's whatever, right? Next guy steps up. The nice thing is we get a lot of those guys back, or really most of those guys back. And, I'm excited to see if we're able to do the things that we were able to do down the stretch with an absolutely depleted roster, what we're going to be able to do moving forward. I'm excited about it. Obviously hurt in the real time. Throughout the season, we don't make excuses. We don't worry about it. It's just next man up mentality. and that has paid off. So there's two things that are core philosophies in our program. Is we are a developmental program, and that means we're going to develop our players. We're going to recruit at a high level and bring a certain amount of guys in here with size, speed, measurables, all those things. It's our job as a coaching staff to maximize that. We inherited a roster that was 118th in the country as far as size of the human beings in the roster. It was the second smallest in Power 5 football. That's what we inherited. We're not complaining about it, not making excuses about it. It's just fact. And what our strength staff has done and what our players have done, buying in and developing at a high level, is awesome. And they will continue to do that. We got to make up a lot of deficiencies, O-line, D-line, and then size, speed ratios on the special teams, and we're actively doing that. But the thing that you can never discount is the culture that's been set, the foundation that's been set, the mentality that we're just going to put the ball down and play regardless of adverse circumstances, regardless of the score, regardless of how good the opponent is. We're going to compete. And I think our guys have done it all year. It is something to be valued. It is something to be commended. It is something to be admired. And I do. I'm proud of that group. I'm proud of that team that went to battle every single week, didn't give up, didn't quit, and they've set a groundwork for what this place is going to be moving forward based on that foundation.
Thank you, Coach.
Coach,
I'm good, Mike.
One more. Go ahead.
oh, okay.
I don't go out recruiting until noon tomorrow, so.
I hear you, Coach. Your safety play, how does Wanye feel? Does he feel like he's developing? How's he coming along in that area?
Yeah, he's turned into, so last year he didn't play DB. He was a kick returner, and a really good one at that. I coached the DBs, and his development, who he's become since day one of spring ball until week 12 of the season, he's turned into a really good defensive back. Obviously, we didn't have Tariq Carpenter out there today. That was a big gap in the secondary because I think Tariq is one of the top safeties in college football as well, and we're able to do a lot of things with the combination of him and Wanye. And but just those things. Wesley Walker got in there. He had to be forced to play at nickel. One of the touchdowns that popped in the third quarter that kind of blew the game open. True freshman, fourth game before he could, so we can save his red shirt, busted a coverage. Right, he's supposed to be the deep half of the field. He busted the coverage. They get a freebie, a touchdown. Right, if he's at the line position, you don't notice it, but he's in the secondary. He's a true freshman. Make a mistake against a really good team. The quarterback found it, made the right throw. We got to learn from those things, but that was one. Obviously, we wish we could have back, but just the attrition level there as well. Had us because Jalen Askew was out, so he had to go in because Jalen's been playing the backup nickel. He had to go in and busted the coverage, and then the third quarter happened to us. So, but he'll get better from it. I thought we've been really smart with our plan of how we were getting certain freshmen their 4 games. Jordan Huff played a ton today, who's a true freshman. This was his 4th game. Wesley Walker, this was his 4th game. Michael Lockhart did not play today because we got him